An ordinary grocery trip turns into an unforgettable showdown when an elderly woman tells a young black girl to go back to Africa. What she says next doesn't just silence the room, it changes everything. The grocery store buzzed with the hum of daily errands. Shoppers weaved through the aisles, some lost in thought, others chatting over carts. Outside, the honks and hums of New York City traffic formed a chaotic symphony, but inside the store, there was a rhythm, a routine that no one expected to be broken. Near the produce section, an elderly woman in her late 70s stood adjusting her glasses. She muttered under her breath while reaching for a bag of apples. Her carefully pinned silver hair and faded cardigan gave her an unassuming look. But what followed was anything but ordinary. A young black girl, no older than 16, approached the same stand. She was dressed in a simple hoodie and jeans, earbuds in, scrolling through her phone with one hand while balancing a small basket in the other. Her name was Maya. She was calm, polite, and accustomed to blending into the steady pulse of the city. As she reached for a bag of oranges, the elderly woman turned sharply, her expression shifting from impatience to something colder. Her eyes narrowed, her lips pursed tightly. "You people don't belong here," she said, loud enough for those nearby to hear. Maya's fingers froze over her phone. She blinked, stunned, unsure if she had misheard. But then the woman continued, her tone sharp and cutting. "Why don't you go back to Africa where you came from?" The air seemed to thicken. A couple of shoppers halted mid-step, exchanging uneasy glances. A store employee stacking bananas a few feet away hesitated, unsure whether to step in or stay out of it. The usual rhythm of the store was gone, replaced by an awkward silence that stretched too long. Maya's first reaction was disbelief. Then, something steadier settled inside her. She wasn't one for confrontations, but this moment demanded something different. She took a slow breath, setting her basket down with deliberate care. When she spoke, her voice was steady but strong. "Ma'am," she said, looking the woman in the eye, "do you even realize what you just said?" The woman scoffed, shifting her apples to the crook of her arm. "I said what I said. This is my country. People like you don't belong here." A young woman near the bakery aisle gasped audibly. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. A middle-aged man near the dairy section stopped pretending to browse and turned to watch. Maya didn't flinch. She let the words hang in the air, giving them weight before she responded. "Let's talk about that," she said, nodding slightly, "since you brought it up." The woman bristled, but Maya remained composed. She lifted her chin slightly, not in defiance, but in quiet strength. "My great-great-grandfather was born in Harlem," she said, her voice carrying through the space. "His father, my great-great-great-grandfather, was brought here in chains, forced to work and suffer, to build this very country. Not by choice, but because someone decided he wasn't human enough to have one." The elderly woman's grip on her apples tightened, but she said nothing. The crowd, however, was transfixed. "My grandfather fought in Vietnam," Maya continued, her voice unwavering. "He risked his life for this country, only to come home and be treated like a second-class citizen. My mom? She's a nurse. She spends her days saving lives, doesn't matter if the patient looks like her or like you. My dad? He drives a bus, getting people where they need to go, no matter who they are." Maya's gaze locked onto the woman's. "So tell me again how I don't belong here." Silence. The elderly woman's mouth opened as if to speak, but no words came out. From the back, someone spoke up. A man in a Yankees cap. "She's right," he said, voice breaking the stillness. "We gotta be better than this." A woman near the deli counter nodded. "My father always said the only color that mattered was the red on the flag." The murmurs grew, agreeing, reflecting, shifting the weight of the moment. A cashier, no older than Maya, called out from behind her register. "I've never seen anyone handle something like that with such grace. Thank you." The elderly woman, now visibly flustered, tightened her grip on her cart. She didn't apologize, but the fire in her eyes had dimmed. Her voice, when it finally came, was quieter. "I didn't mean," she started, but trailed off. Maya met her gaze, softer now. "It's not about what you meant," she said gently. "It's about how it came across. Words matter. Actions matter even more." A single clap broke the silence, then another and another. Soon the sound swelled through the store, not just for Maya's words, but for the courage she had shown. The elderly woman glanced around one last time before wheeling her cart toward the exit. As she walked away, a few people approached Maya, some offering quiet words of support, some just nodding in gratitude. A woman placed a hand on her shoulder and whispered, "Thank you for saying what needed to be said." Maya exhaled, picking up her basket again. "Sometimes," she said softly, "it's not about winning or losing. It's about making sure people hear the truth." Outside, the sun was beginning to set, casting golden streaks over the crowded sidewalks. As Maya walked home, she knew one thing for certain: ignorance doesn't get better in silence. And today, in that store, she had done her part to break it. Moments like these remind us of the power of kindness, strength, and truth in the face of ignorance. They teach us that standing up doesn't always mean shouting. It can mean speaking calmly, with conviction, and letting the truth do the rest. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Together we can spread messages of hope, courage, and understanding to create a better world.